Welcome back to Astrology Today with Jeff Harman, everyone. I'm Jeff's assistant, Ella, and today we have a new moon. And for the longest time, I've been asking Jeff to please do something on the new moons. So he's always just so busy, but today he's got time to do it. So here we are.
Yep, she finally talked me into it. For years, I've been, hearing, Jeff, you got to do a new moon podcast. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so busy. But I'm glad to do this actually, because everyone I think has been enamored with the moon throughout history. All your ancient cultures have been always enamored with eclipses and new moons. And I have to say, there's a lot to it. When you really look at the moon, it is the seed, which is the sun, meeting the crucible, which is the moon. Dad puts the seed in mom's womb, farmer puts seed in the ground. So new moons really are significant. The reason why is it's a time of renewal every month. And of course, we know about the menstrual cycles, so on and so forth. But I think the analogy of the sun and the moon joining is where spirit gets recreated every month. In fact, in the Hebrew religion, they actually wait 72 hours for the 72 angels to commit a prayer after the new moon. Other cultures will do prayers and meditations right exactly on the new moon. I'm more of that camp, but either one, it's a really powerful time to reset your energy. And if you get in touch with the world and the energies, you can really feel it. It's kind of a somber, stoic feeling right between, the time the new moon happens and then it starts again. It's almost like a switch that happens. So it's a really good time to do meditation, especially for where the world is right now, So, and setting goals, it's really important. Now, I want to talk about something, shifting gears here for a minute, that is really an enigma because, Elle and I were looking at a lot of different people putting out podcasts on the new moon. And it's a real popular thing. But one of the big enigmas between the two camps of astrologers are the tropical zodiac and the sidereal zodiac. And when you listen to your tropical astrologers, they'll go through and talk about the new moon this time is going to be in the fixed sign of Aquarius. It's actually happening right at 7 degrees. I'm sorry, I stand corrected. It's going to be happening at 1 degrees Aquarius, 32 minutes, which is really about a day after the tropical ingress of the sun into the fixed sign of Aquarius, which really kind of is where we establish the heaviness of winter. Everyone says, oh my God, this is the time 52 days before the spring equinox approximately is where we really start to feel we're done with winter, right? And we want the spring to come. So one of the things that I like about the tropical zodiac is it's very fixed to the tropics, which is the weather and the earthly lower dense plane. Now, the sidereal zodiac is totally different. It's about 24 degrees back. And of course, this sidereal new moon is going to happen at 7 degrees of Capricorn. And that is, of course, an earth sign, 7 degrees, 24 minutes to be exact. But this is where we enter into something completely different because people always say, well, wait a minute, which one's more accurate, the tropical zodiac or the sidereal? And I am of the feelings that both are. It's kind of like, do you want to use a 1/2-inch wrench or do you want to use a 13 millimeter? Interestingly enough, that wrench will fit both bolts that are those sizes very closely. So it's the way you view it. I really have to say, when it comes to us as souls, the sidereal zodiac seems to really have a deep effect. In the more mundane world, the tropical seems to have a more accurate effect. So that's why I'm like Sybil. I use them both. Split personality here when it comes to the astrology. I look at them both. So one of the things that simplistically you can all do, and I find this is really accurate. Many people these days are jumping on the internet and they go to AstroDeance or other sites, or you may have your own astrology program, or you may be familiar with your chart. Run around the houses and see what house your new moon or the new moon every month is, because it's going to happen literally 13 times a year, right? And you're going to find it's going to show up in all 12 houses each month out of the year. So if it's happening in your first house, that means it's really a new beginning for you personally, because the first house rules that, all about the self, the body, the health, the way you put out energy, setting goals. If it's in your second house, look to things with money and resources and the way you communicate to people, because that's the second house. The third house has to do with siblings, has to do with neighbors, has to do with daily routine and travel. So watch your travel, that kind of a thing. And letters and communications, and also daily education if you're in school or something like that. The fourth house is home, family, real estate. Also, many people attribute it to the mother, and there's a lot of truth to that. So, you'll be dealing with things with the home or the family or the mother, or things to do with outcomes. It's the fourth house. The fifth house is children, siblings, pleasures, speculation, playing the markets, so on and so forth. So the sixth house is health. It's also employees if you own a business, if there's still one left in the United States. So the bottom line is, the sixth house is also pets. If you have small pets and animals, really a big deal with that, because it's going to reestablish that month. The pet may take more emphasis. If it's the seventh house, it's partnerships and relationships you hold with others. See, the seventh house is that. Also, any issues you have with partnerships and relationships. So the seventh house is a big one. The eighth house is other people's money, or it's change in your life, you see? So you want to look to that. It could be your spouse's money or your partner's money, or the way you deal with other people's money. It also could sometimes, in rare occurrences, inheritances, birth and death. See, that's the eighth house. The ninth house is higher education, legal issues, and higher knowledge and wisdom and spirituality. See, and what I'm doing is just running around the meanings of each house. The 10th house is career. So if you got a new moon in the 10th house, you want to look at, how does it affect my career? What am I doing with my career? What direction am I going? Could I plant any new seeds? Maybe come up with new ideas to generate new business. Or if you work for someone, look at new creative ways to do things in your business. See, so the 10th house is how we comport out to the world our success, our career, and our social status. The 11th house, if you have a new moon in the 11th house, you want to look to friends, groups, organizations. Also, luck and opportunity is the 11th house. And the 12th house, whenever it happens in the 12th house, that I always say is probably worth a $5,000 worth of psychotherapy, because that is, the 12th house is hidden things. It is deep subconscious things. It also may be hidden things with hidden secret enemies or secret things that are going on. So it's really good to look at the 12th house as a reset and kind of psychological things. Now, I know many people listening to this will say, but wait, he forgot. Yeah, there are other meanings to the houses, and you can certainly look those up. When I do readings for people, I include that in the booklet that I give out in readings. But I would also say you can find the meanings of the houses, and there's a lot of meanings to houses online too, and in some really good books. So if you're a real astrology aficionado, you'll get into all the houses. And I also might add, you're going to find it's not just that simple as having it in a house like I just went through. You're also going to find it's going to make a big difference whether the new moon is making aspects or conjuncting certain planets in your chart. So whether you're a siderealist or a tropicalist, that's how you can look at these things. Now, I want to just switch gears after that to more of a worldly issue on the new moon. This new moon is happening on the United States South Node called K2. And we know the moon's north and south nodes is where eclipses happen. Now, we don't have an eclipse now. Why? Because the declination, that's a fancy term in astrology. That means the moon's north or south latitude from the ecliptical orbital plane of the Earth around the sun is actually quite a bit south right now. It's actually at a minus 24, almost 25 degree declination. So it's not going to occult the sun on this new moon. That's why we get eclipses, is when it gets real close to the ecliptic. That is where the nodes happen. So the nodes have very interesting and very deep secret meanings. And, I don't want to get too deep into the nodes right now, but to keep this to the new moon, fascinating stuff. Well, one of the, I think, coolest things about Vedic astrology or Nadi astrology is the 27 lunar mansions. And these are also known as nakshatras. And by the way, they had them in the West too. The Egyptians, the Chaldeans, and the Greeks all used a 28 lunar mansion. So very mysterious stuff about the ancientness and the mysteries of the moon. We could go on all day here. I don't want to keep this short today. But here's the point. This is happening in a lunar mansion called Uttara. I can never pronounce that right, but that's pretty close. Uttara, some people pronounce it. And this is very important, because it has a lot to do with the current political situation. There is a deity, and I'm not going to pronounce it for you because it's too abstract. I think explaining is better. But it is a lot to do with deep under secret stuff, or things that are under the water or under the subconscious. It actually has to do with serpents too. It's very interesting. So these are very mysterious, all these lunar mansions. And it actually happens in a sun rulership of that nakshatra or lunar mansion and the moon's north and south nodes. That's why it has a secretness to it. So we're likely to find this next month is going to be more interesting, more stuff coming out, more things happening. I think the stuff we've talked about on other podcasts about the big picture with the Pluto return on the United States, the Saturn Sati going on over the United States, and the Mars going over the United States moon later this year are much bigger background energies that the new moons fit into. But I can tell you, this is very, very powerful because a lot of secret stuff is likely to be surfacing on the United States and in the world right now. So, and that's the nature of this new lunar mansion. Overall, it's not a horrible new moon. It actually is in the sidereal zodiac in what we call an Earth trine to Jupiter. So again, maybe a little more legal stuff and justice coming out in many different areas. And, so that's a basic overview of the moon. And one last thing I'll say, Benjamin Franklin used to put out an almanac called Poor Richard's Almanac every month in the colonies that would talk about the new moons. And of course, we've all heard of the Farmer's Almanac. So the moon goes back to antiquity. It's a very mysterious little satellite surrounding this Earth.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. I know today I woke up and with so much energy, and I know the new moon is in my 9th house. So it's interesting.
Yes, but you also have Mars in your ascendant right now that just went direct. So you're going to feel like Popeye on spinach anyhow.
I kind of do.
Where's your pipe? Where's your pipe? But anyhow, your spinach, you got to have your spinach. Yeah. So,
Yeah, it's fascinating how the moon really, really affects us. All the planets, it's so powerful. So
they really are.
They take your mood from up to down, sideways. Everything that's happening in your life. Thank you so much, Jeff. Thanks
you
for doing
bet.
this.
Yeah, that was real brief, and we could go into so much more depth. And the moon is exceedingly complex,
and we will.
And everyone's chart. But at least this is, a great way to look at the new moon.
Yeah, have a great new moon, everyone. Happy new moon for 2023.
And do a meditation for this crazy world.